Okay. Assalamu alaikum, everyone, and welcome to the episode 13 of Simply Sada series. I'm here again with another exciting topic. Today's topic is a bit different, and if you have seen the guideline, which I'm assuming you all have, the guideline itself are the situation which most of us have been through. So, for that, today we have Samiha Ali. Samiha is a chief HR officer at Mobilink Bank, and with her experience, she will put some light on the topic and we will learn from it. So, Samia, thank you so much for joining us and I want you to introduce yourself to the audience directly.
All right. Mariam, first of all, thank you very much for reaching out to me, and thank you very much for this session. I'm sure this is going to help lots of people. There are so many things that I have in my mind, and I would like to share through my experience for students who are going through graduation. What are the things they need to do, and then obviously who have graduated, what they should do. I'm working with Mobilink Finance Bank as their CRO, and primarily, HR so much to do in HR. There's so many things that you have to, with people, culture, organization, development. So lots of things doing with that. Prior to this, I was working in Karachi with a consultancy firm with the name of HRS Global. Again, a huge portfolio to manage. So that's a little brief about myself. And as we go on, I will keep sharing my experiences with the people so that they get to learn from the real life experiences.
Wonderful. So, as the topic itself says, navigating early careers, let's start with the problems and theories of our fresh grads. So, Samya, I receive this question almost every day, and I believe you do too, because as an HR professionals, we interact with a lot of people. So what happens when a student graduates, they have a lot of things in their mind, they have fantasies and they have plans, and but when they enter the professional world, they see that the world is totally different what they studied, and there are new things, and then they start feeling, oh, I have not explored everything yet. And then there's when their uncle or aunt, they say, oh, you have opted this field, they don't, this field does not have a lot of growth or potential. So they start feeling that anxiety and they start feeling lost, that they don't know what to do. So what are your suggestion to them, how to cope up the situation, how to keep themselves firm and achieve what they want, what are they looking for and what they wanted to achieve?
It's an excellent thing that you've actually picked up for us to start our conversation. It's really amazing. I'd like to divide actually this discussion with undergrads, and then with the and then with the working professionals when they enter that. So if we know that there is a problem, and the problem is that they don't know what they need to do, and they fantasize when they reach into the organizations, or perhaps they're not finding the right jobs for themselves. So what is the first thing that they need to do? I mean, what would a human mind actually tell you to do? It would actually tell you to do that you start preparing before that. So
Yeah.
if that area, the job search is like an exam for you, so you need to start preparing before it. Now, unfortunately, the problem that we have with our, and I actually call it a problem because undergrads do not start very early on. You need to start early on. So during your summer breaks, during your winter breaks, what plan do you have for yourself? So the major thing that I see in many the population that we have would be that they would most probably plan how to hibernate for longer hours, how to sleep for longer hours during their summer breaks. I don't see people, reaching out. Okay, we have a summer break, we have a winter break, and we need to do internships there. We need to learn something. That's something that they don't do. So eventually, you are going to land into a difficult situation when you finally graduate and reach there. So
Yeah.
that's going to be my first advice to you. Now, I've said internship, right? I want to add more to it. Because you're in that age, I think what you need to do as a person is just explore and just experiment with your time that you have apart from your college or university. That's something that we don't do. Just as a person, find a passion for yourself. So, I have a few things in mind, and I'm just going to, discuss that with you. Now, passion does not necessarily need to mean that you need to do some internships. Find passion in what you like. It can be cycling, exercising, gymming, cooking, meditating. It can be anything. You just find a skill for yourself, and go do that. Because our for universities, generally you have um, at least 2 to 3 weeks time. That's the break that you have during your studies, for summers and for winters as well. So you got to do something with that time. With that, so once you've identified your passion, and you're experimenting apart from books as well. The other thing that I think you need to do is develop a skill as well. So before you're graduating, develop on a skill as well. And there's no harm in experimenting. So you've taken finance, you think you're very passionate about finance, but many a times when you land in finance in the practical world, you say, I'm not very keen about it. So that's something that people generally face, and we come across these things and we see. I've done that myself. So I thought medical was a good line for me, so I started off with
Yeah.
medical. I shifted to economics. Then I finally did my master's in HR, and I actually took some time in doing my master's degree. So I will discuss that later on as well. So those are a couple of things that I would really urge for undergrads to do.
So, as you just told me about your experiences and how, what you studied, and you jump in different fields, I have another question. So there are some students who do bio majors, and then they have two fields in front of them, like they have marketing and they have finance, and they are good at both, and they can't decide which way to go. So, what would you recommend them, that how to decide what factor they should keep in mind while selecting any of the one as their career?
Well, so there are two things, like possibility and probability, right? So possibly you land into a department, or into a function. So many of the students that I see now, they sort of review the course content as well. Marketing looks exciting because there are a lot of projects coming in. Finance may, acha, there is this, so there's a lot of number crunching and this and that. So that's how they also decide. Now that the world is open, I mean, who doesn't have an internet in front of you, right? We all have internets available with
Yeah.
us. uh, Research is absolutely important. It's very important. Okay, am I passionate about marketing, or am I passionate about finance or HR or IT, so on and so forth. As we move on, we'll also discuss about how was the situation before COVID, and what are the skills that are perhaps required now post COVID. So
Yeah.
there are lots of things, and your skills requirement, it's all changing throughout. It's like changing immensely throughout. When like let's say, like when the world started, um, making a knife with stones perhaps was one of the skill set that was required.
Yeah.
Then using the knife in different ways, using the skin animal in different ways, that was another skill that was, and that is how we've all evolved throughout. So I think doing your research is absolutely important. And with research, I think there's one more point that we must perhaps touch on at this, when I'm saying that you need to have your skills developed early on. You must have a mentor as well. You need to have a mentor as well. It could be anyone in your family that you believe is successful, and you want to talk to him. If it's not in the family, you can look at the internet. There are so many good mentors, there are so many good speakers, there's so much good content that you can sort of learn from. So what's stopping you? The only thing that I believe, that's my personal experience, the only thing that stops you to reach your goal is nothing but yourself. It's
Yeah.
nothing but
I
yourself.
totally,
you know
totally agree with you.
yeah,
I totally agree
yeah.
with you. So as we are talking, I keep recalling a lot of things that people ask me, and I also want to know. So as we just discussed about developing a certain skills which you don't have, I would like to ask you one question which is personally very close to my heart, and I believe a lot of people out there can relate to this, especially females. So what happens when you have certain passion, but because of family pressure or maybe society and family doesn't allow you, and there are certain things that considered as a taboo in our society, you can't pursue it. So you start doing something which you like to do, but you're not very passionate about it. And then what happens when you're not very passionate about something? One day you feel very excited about this, and the other day you feel very dull. If something bad happens, you start feeling, oh, I don't belong to this, I don't want to do this, I want to quit, I want to just go and just live in the mountain and forest. And the other day you started feeling that no, no, I have to do this, this is my job. So this situation, this uncertainty, what would you suggest, how to manage this, all of these things? Also, if you don't have a skill for something, like you can, to how, what are the things that we should do to develop that certain skill?
Okay. Was your first part of the question related with females only, where there
It
are
was not
family
related
pressures
to,
and all of that?
yeah, because most of the times the females are being more pressured than male. But it's just one thing I'm saying, that maybe females can relate more to that, but it's for everyone.
Okay. So we, anybody, we can't change your family or your home status, or the issues
Yeah,
that are there. So this is a very good thing that you've asked. There are many medical students that actually pass out, but after marriage, they probably are not working anywhere.
yeah,
There are so many examples that I know that they've gone into a medical college, they've studied, they've even done their house jobs perhaps, but then due to their family composition, or with children and all of that, they're not pursuing that thing. So that's actually a very unfortunate kind of a situation, and I have no advice to give because I can't change your scenario. I just can't change your scenario. But as I said, possibility, probability, there's always an opportunity anywhere. Now if you look at post COVID, there are doctors coming in online as well,
yeah,
are they not? So now
yeah,
you're getting medical facility online, medicines, they're coming at your doorstep. Of course, the test and all of that, that's a separate thing. But if you, as I gave an example of a doctor, if you are not allowed to go out of the house for some reason, children, pressure, whatever, there are other mediums by which you can actually still pursue your career. You can still do that. And then many a times there are females that actually take a break from work and then they rejoin. So that's again something that we can't predict. We can't predict how the job opportunities will be after 2 years' time that you've taken a break and you come back. We can't predict how the economy is going to be there. But then there are many ways in which you can still pursue with your passion. And if all doors are closed, then you most probably need to wait for the right time that the door opens for you, because things don't remain the same as they are. Yeah, we could not have imagined speaking to a doctor online and discussing your symptoms with the doctor online, but yes, now it's
yeah,
happening, so everything is happening. And for the other part where you said, how do we learn our skills and all of that, and as I said, the world is open. There are so many online courses that you can pick up and learn. There are cooking related stuff that you can pick, there are technical related stuff, there are AI related, analytic, data, I mean, you name it, and the courses are available, and there are so many which are actually free of cost.
yeah,
Then there are some, you get a certificate from very renowned universities as well, but those are paid. So if you can do a paid course, do a paid one. If you want to do a free course, you do a free course. So there's nothing that's like stopping you in gaining that skill that you're actually looking for.
yeah. Learning should not stop at any stage of your career.
Learning should absolutely not stop. Yep, I agree
Yeah.
with that.
So, as we are talking about passion, so I want your expert opinion on one thing. Uh, career counseling experts believes that wrong decision about career choices is the result of severe shortcomings in the education systems as well as on the behalf of parents. So what do you think, what universities, schools, or most importantly parents can do to guide, advise the young people to pursue their passion and do what they want to do? What they can,
Um,
how can they support this?
is Are you talking about a conflict between what kids want to do and again what parents want them to do?
I think, yeah, I think there's a two parts of this question. So a part is I totally agree with you that there are certain situations where parents want to do something. The parents want their kids to do something else, and they want to do something else. And the other situation is parent does not even know that what their kids wants to do. So how they can support and how can what they can do, what they can ask, how can they do the counseling to their kids so to pursue what they want.
All right. So again, wherever there's a family problem, we most probably, cannot resolve those issues. But everyone, this is my personal opinion. I really believe that your career starts maybe at the age of 3. How?
Hmm.
So, which school do you go to? It's actually going to set the pace, how your future is going to look like, right? So, if you're
Yeah.
going to an average school, that's the personality development that's, going to take place in you, unless that at a later stage you polish yourself. If from a very early on age you've gone to one of the best schools in the country, you're going to come out to be as a totally different human being. So your career line actually starts way from the beginning. Now, as I mentioned about myself, I started off with medicine. I started off with being a medical student. That's what I thought I really wanted to be. But then later on, I sort of shifted. So there wasn't much guidance coming in from my parents, because my parents were very open, for me, that study whatever you want to. But they didn't sort of push me. Neither did they sort of guide me that it's better that you take commerce, or it's better that you take ABC subjects. It's going to help you in your future. So that thing actually didn't happen. But the good thing that actually happened was I actually met a mentor, and God bless him for that. I actually went him to ask, in what subject should I do my masters, and that's the point from where everything changed. And that's why I actually say that it's very important that you need to have a mentor. And as far as the skills thing is concerned, there are many institutes. As I said, you can do your skill development online as well. But apart
Yeah.
from that, there are many institutes, even in Pakistan, that give you that technical learning. There are available in the country that you can sort of do that. So that was my advice for the undergrads. What you need to do: start on early in your life. Pick an activity for yourself. Don't look dull. Don't be dull. I'd also like to add one more thing here. When we have fresh graduates for interviews, right?
Yeah.
So there's a very standard question that people ask. Tell me about yourself, right? That's a very standard question
I
that
think
most of the
everyone asks this question. Everyone asks this question.
everyone asks that. Okay, so now that you're a fresh grad, just think that you're sitting there. What is the reply that you're going to give? What does your profile actually have?
Yeah.
So if you're totally blank about it, um, then it's very sorry, because you've spent like 16 years of education and you don't know. But it's okay if you don't have a job. Like for example, you've not done internships. Now let's pick up a scenario where unfortunately, maybe you never got the opportunity for an internship, or maybe you never thought of it, whatsoever. So let's assume that you are sitting in front of a recruiter, and the recruiter asks you, what tell me about yourself.
Yeah.
So let's minus the job part, the all the other part. But you're here after 16 years of your education. Talk about your projects. Now, the problem that we also face, and I'm sure many of the recruiters face, now I sometimes do ask them about their projects. And you do find out that it's more of a copy paste kind of a thing. When I want to, I sometimes deep dive into the project. Acha, tell me kya kya kiya, how did it happen, what was it there. So people who've been involved in the project will be, they can tell you everything. But
Yeah.
people who, those kind of students ke yaar mujhe de do, and I want to copy it and all of that, so you can sort of, pick that up. But if you're passionate about your activities, acha, and when I say activities, it can be social work as well. There are companies, there are places where you can actually go and do some social work around that. You just need to
Yeah.
have a better profile, not an empty profile where I just see that in 16 years you've only gone to the university, college, school, and that's about it. You've not done anything else. So so if I have a student who's done something and I have a student who's not done anything, who do you think I'm going to pick? I'm going to pick
Obviously, the other.
somebody who's
Yeah.
done something, who has that flair, who's done something, who, uh, passionate about anything, you know.
Yeah. So I think the bottom line is that you start preparing for your professional
Early
world
on,
from the day you started university.
early on, yes,
Yeah.
early on, absolutely, absolutely. You got to be involved. You got to be involved in the surroundings around you. The three P's of success that many trainers talk about. It's passion, it's being persistent, it's preparation. It's preparation. So I would like to meet a fresh graduate. I just need to see where's the passion. What have you done like 16 years? Tell me about those things, and then you actually land up at a better place. So
Yeah.
that's what
I
undergrads
totally.
actually need to do.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. So, Samia, another situation. I'm sure a lot of people who are watching us have been can relate to this, and it's not just related to fresh grads, but also for the people who are in the middle of their career, or maybe if I spent 6 to 7 years. So, what happens when you join a new company, or maybe you just started your career? You feel good, but then after a few time you started feeling that, oh, I don't belong to this, and I don't feel like I can do this, I can continue this. So what do you think, how early is too early to decide that this job is not for me?
So there's not a fixed number there, right? Maybe you start on day one and you say I don't want to. So I actually got my daughter into a company because she just freshly graduated, and I wanted her, to start somewhere.
Yeah.
So she joined this company, and I had to, like, she applied there, and then we knew somebody there. It's a local. It was a local company. Anyways, so they get off at 6 o'clock. She came home at 4:30 that day, day one.
Okay.
Okay. So she knew it right then and there that this place is actually not for her, because they had very, very strict rules in the organization where she could not actually use her cell phone. They had very strict timings, when they can go to the cafe, when they cannot go to the cafe. Every workstation was monitored. They had a camera. So, they were sort of watched, how many breaks everybody's taking. She just knew it, and she was home at 4:30 that day, that she doesn't want to work here. So sometimes it can be actually, this quick.
Yeah.
Sometimes you need to give yourself time to understand. Now there are many factors which actually make you decide this. Number one, for very important, your line manager, the person that you're actually working with, can actually sort of turn that boring work into something very exciting for you, and you want to come to work every day.
Yeah.
Second very important thing, culture. So your work is really nice, but you the culture is not aspiring you. You don't want to go to office every day, because that's not the place you want to work. Now there
Yeah.
are two three things that people should decide. um, People can actually just go away from their job who are not actually very, they're not the bread earners for their family perhaps, so they can make those rash decisions, right? Okay, I don't want to come here tomorrow, I'm going. But for people who need that financial support sort of a thing, for them I would say give yourself some time before you grab on something new, because at the end of the day, your emotional well-being, your physical well-being, and your financial well-being, it's all important,
Yeah.
right? It's all important. And the reason why people are stuck where they probably want to leave early, it's because of the financial reason, most probably, because emotionally they're not happy there. um, but financially they need to sort of be there. So there's another thing that you can explore within your organization. If you like the culture but you don't like that particular domain, wait for the right time or chance to come. Maybe there can be other opportunities within your organization that you might want to move. So you don't necessarily have to be stuck in that particular role where you are right now.
Yeah.
Yes, if you feel that there is no place in the organization where you can be transferred, perhaps you're in an organization which where you see that there there are no lateral moves coming in, or maybe there are no horizontal moves also coming in, then probably you should start looking out, and look for a better opportunity. But again, that is something that nobody can predict. Okay, will there be a job offer your way? Will you be selected for that job offer? So that's
Yeah.
something that people really need to decide for themselves, that do I let go of this? Do I look for other opportunities? Or do I continue here till the time I find something better? So it's your own situation that's going to make it's going to make you take these decisions for yourself.
So
So it's
would
very
you like to
practical.
give
It's
some
quite
tips?
practical.
Yeah, understand. So would you like to give some tips to the people who are currently stuck in this situation where they're doing something which is not making them happy, but obviously they have responsibilities, they have families, they have kids to feed, so they have to continue this. So how to make yourself happy in something that is not positive for you at all? So just two, three tips to someone.
Okay. So if you have a bad boss and who's actually eating your head, I'm very sorry for you, because bad bosses can actually kill you. They can
Yeah.
they can actually kill you. They can kill your mood. They can kill your entire day, and then the chuck 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 that goes on. So quite sorry about that. And if you think that there is no other department you can move on to, and you can think you can sustain yourself financially, my advice would be to leave that place. To leave that
Yeah.
place, because a person's well-being, mental well-being, it's so important. It's so important. When you're happy, you radiate happiness, right? So I don't really have to tell you jokes, but if I'm happy, I'm in a nice mood, you can see that. If
Yeah.
I'm sad and
Definitely.
at a workplace, or there's something going on in my mind, I'm going to radiate that bad mood. And I can shift that ugliness to others as well. So my staff comes, the employees come, my colleagues come and talk to me, and I'm like just bashing them because I'm in a bad mood. If you can sustain yourself,
Yeah.
then you got to move out of there. If the problem is there, look for other opportunities within the organization. And as I've said, you must have a mentor in life that actually helps you with many things, not only in official matters, even in personal matters. So a mentor obviously is going to be somebody who's actually seen the sunset, right?
Yeah.
Sunset is a concept. I'll just share that with you. So a mentor is somebody who's seen the sunset, who's gone through lots of phases in life, and that mentor will actually give you a good advice. Will give you a good advice. And sometimes I'll tell you what, even in a bad situation, even in a bad situation, all what you have to do is speak to a good friend. And once you've actually spoken to that friend, half of your problems, as they say, if you have a good doctor, half of your worries, they kind of go away if you have a good doctor with you. So a
Yeah.
friend, a buddy, a mentor, that's what they actually do for you.
So,
So
Samia, what do you think? What a person should look for when they are finding their mentor? Like a lot of people, they don't know who to consider as a mentor. Like if they like someone's personality, they start considering, okay, it's my mentor. But maybe their mindsets are different and their professions are different. Maybe won't be able to give you the guidance that you require, that they are looking for. So, what do you think? How can a person decide that that person is my mentor, or that person can be my mentor?
okay, so let me just give you an example out of the office space. All right. Do you, Mariam, have anybody in your family that you consider to be a good uncle, auntie?
Yeah,
Anyone
my brother.
that you? Okay, so there you have it. So let's say, how have you picked up your brother? There must be
I
some
don't know.
qualities in him that you've considered.
Yeah,
Anything
I
that
think
maybe you
he
think that
listens
he's
to
mature
me.
enough.
Yeah, he listens to
Like,
me. He's mature.
listening. All right. Listening is actually so important. It's so important when we do trainings related with active listening. Uh, when we do counseling, actually, in counseling, we don't actually have to give them the advice, because the advice that I'm going to give is going to be based on my experience, right?
Yeah,
Maybe you're not ready for it. Maybe you're too young to take my advice. Maybe I'm very aggressive in nature. So my advice is going to be, just do it. Just don't look here and there. Just do it. In a counseling session, we just let the other person talk. And during his talking, he comes up with options himself. That's what actually a mentor is supposed to do, number one, and then obviously guide you, so and so forth.
yeah,
Now, just how you've picked up a mentor in the family, like you picked up your brother because you know he's mature, he'll give you a good advice. um, he listens to you very nicely. That's the same way that you look for a mentor, let's say, in an office space. In an office space, if you've considered somebody to be good and you go up to him, you're looking for an advice from that mentor, one or two times you think that he's not guiding me properly, or he's not he's not understanding my problem, then that means that that mentor perhaps is not the right person for you.
yeah.
He's just not the right person for you. You can change it. Now, as I said in the beginning, let's assume you have nobody to look up to in the office or in the family. I can guarantee you that there are mentors available online. There are some good speakers available online. You just listen to them, and you get that positive radiation. There are so many good names that if you just listen to them, their TED talks and other motivational speeches, they sort of guide you. Yeah, for a particular problem, if you say कि मेरे, like, in my house, this particular situation, maybe they don't do that, but they give you such a broader horizon that you can pick up things and settle with your problem.
Amazing. So the mentor is can be the person who listens to you, who understands you, and most importantly, listening is the first important thing. Okay. So,
Absolutely, absolutely.
Samia, I have another situation, and I think so. This situation, or maybe a question, we can say it has two parts, and one for the we can say it's for recruiters, and one for the general public. So, what happens when we see one CV? The person is great. We thought that, oh, it's totally aligned with what we are looking for, and it has an amazing experience and everything. But he has bumps on his salary. Like he spent 1 year in one company, and then 1 year in one other company, and then 6 months, and it's so like this. So recruiters are confused sometimes that the person is amazing. It looks so good, and when we spoke to the person, it's very good, but we're not sure that should we hire him or not. He does not look like a very reliable person. So this is the first part of the question for recruiters. The second part is for the general public. So I'll give you my example. When I started my career, so one of my senior told me that in an initial phase of your career, you should switch as frequently as you can. Like the most exposure you get, it will be good for your CV. And just spend one year in one company and then other company. I said, okay. And then other day I was sitting with another senior and he said the exact opposite. He said you should spend 4 to 5 years in one company because loyalty looks better. And when someone sees your CV, they will look, oh, she's of such a reliable resource. So I think this is a problem, and this is a question in a lot of people's in mind. I did not get answer of this question ever. That what should we consider on the CV? What looks good, loyalty or diversity?
Okay, so every person in itself is a brand, right? You are a brand within yourself. How do you want to brand yourself? Do you want to brand yourself as a job hopper? Now, for job hopping, if I get a resume of this sort, I would actually be concerned. Why did he hop jobs? Is it because of money, or is it because he was not really liking his work? So there gotta be some scenarios why he's hopping. If it's for money and some some people actually, they're very, they discuss very openly and they say yes, it is because of money. I, in many bright cases, if that person can give me 2 years of his time, because he's a job hopper, right? But if I think that he can give me 2 years of his time, why I said two? Because when you enter into an organization, two is minimum, just minimum. When you enter into an organization, new work, new things, you take about few months time in understanding what's going on, right?
Yeah.
So you've taken a few months in understanding what's going on, then it's your time to deliver. So 1 year, I think, is too short a time, because you've learned, the company has invested in you, in teaching you everything. Now it's your time to, give back to the organization. So making a switch in 1 year's time is where you've actually not given back anything to the company.
To the company.
But if you think you're very aggressive in your nature, then at least spend 2 years, give back something, deliver something, so that, instead of just having a job hopper CV, I can actually see that you've done some good projects also. But that's, very few. And as a recruiter, many people will say that there are very few people with this mindset. And these people are also generally starting in their careers. So we need to understand this thing as well. So they've just like started their careers. They're in a sunrise position, sunset or sunrise. I'll explain that. So they're in a sunrise position, where, the only thing that they can see, they can actually see a different thing. But as you mature, you'll see people that then they stick at one place, and they do, longer tenures there, minimum 3, 5, 6. Some do 15. So these job hoppers are generally, at the beginning of their careers, when they're very passionate, and they're just reaching out for the stars, and doing that. So in my opinion, I think 1 year is a little too short time to make very, 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 very quick jumps.
Or so, do you think that recruiters should give an opportunity to someone who looks very good on the CV but has that bumps in the CV? So,
Okay.
does he deserve a chance?
Okay, so as I said, right, so it's a win-win situation. So if I
Yeah.
have somebody who is, let's say, let's pick a position like a graphic designer, let's say, for example, right? Now, if my graph, so I mean, the effort that goes in the recruitment process and all of that, that would obviously, it has a cost in itself, but time that you spend and all of that. So that's one
Yeah.
question that, as a recruiter, I would say, I mean, I've just done one recruitment. After 1 year, I've got to do another one. So for a very technical position where I need stability, I might perhaps, think twice, right? Because if I know that he's going to leave after 1 year. But for positions like, let's say, graphic designer, right? We bring in somebody who's doing our designing day in, day out, day in, day out. And if he decides to leave after a year, um, how much in trouble am I going to get? What is the gap that he's going to create, the skill gap that he's going to create for the company? So you can give them another chance for these kind of positions. And this, as I said, this generally happens with people who've just entered in, and they want to make those big jumps. It's for them.
I agree with you. So, as we were talking about the bad situations or happens on the job, like you have a bad boss, so there must be
Yeah.
some level of compromises. So, I think it varies person to person. Like, if there must be some person who can work like on weekends and can do late sitting, but the other person it's not feasible for them. So it varies person to person, but there must be certain factors which are similar to every job, like there with your experience, mashallah, you have vast experience, so tell us some compromisable factors, that things that a person can compromise to achieve something in career because that can reward you later, or that there should be some factor that should not compromise at any cost. So do you have any like.
So, the word compromise in itself, it's like a sad word where, you have to make compromises. It's not a happy word, right? But, sometimes compromises land you at a good spot. Sometimes compromises do damages also. So you then again have to look at your very own situation to see how much compromise can you make. Now there are some, thick-skinned people, right? Who can work with difficult bosses. There are some thick-skinned people who can do that. While on the other hand, there are some who just cannot, and then they collapse. So it's going to vary person to person. It's going to vary situation to situation. If you have, unfortunately, landed with a bad boss, um, if you are in a good organization, you can come out of that situation. But if you end up in an organization where it's not, they don't have any structures, they don't have counselors, they don't have strong an HR department where you can raise your voice, then you're kind of stuck really badly. Because you can have bad bosses in MNCs, you can have them in FMCGs, you can have them in any big company, you can have them anywhere. But if it's a structural organization with where they actually support employees to speak up, to talk about their grievances, you're in a good spot. But if that's not the case, then it has to depend upon you, how you want to sort of navigate in that situation. And as we've discussed, if you have a financial crunch, right? If you have a financial crunch and you need to stay on the job, then you need to be strong emotionally for that thing to pass through you. Because I can assure you that situations don't remain the same, and I have seen that in my career. Anything, and even the Quran says that, right? With every difficulty there is ease. So you have to hold on to something. You need to, if you are a spiritual person, that spirituality actually gives you that strength, right? And there are many examples apart from that we get from the Quran as well. There are stories of,
Yeah.
and I want to make that a mention, for difficult times. For difficult times, we as Muslims actually should read, not even Muslims, anybody, you should read the story of Yusuf alayhi salam. His life was the entire life from childhood. So that spiritual thing also gives you strength to navigate through difficult times. And then keep that in mind that your difficult scenario will change if you are unable to do anything about it yourself.
Beautiful. So, if many are talking about difficult times, there are a lot of people who seen the difficult times in the COVID-19 situation. Many people got laid off. So,
Yes.
any piece of advice you want to give to them, that how, because they feel, I have a feeling that they feel demotivated, they feel depressed. A lot of people did not get job yet. So, what is your piece of advice to them?
All right. So, as I said, we can't fix that situation, right? So you have to be strong and you have to hold on and keep looking for opportunities. Now, if you think that a job is the only thing that's going to help you and it's not coming your way, you can't sit like an idle person and just not do anything.
Yeah,
That's not something good for your mental state, for your physical state, and for your pocket as well, right?
yeah,
You need to have, so for example, you need to go from point A to point B, right?
yeah,
But then most probably it's not a straight line. You need to understand this, you need to be aware of your situation and accept it. For example, you've been laid off. Now you're looking for another job. You're standing at point A, you want to go to point B, but your point B is not a straight line, it's a zigzag line. So this is how you're going to go. My piece of advice is that you need to navigate and do something so that you stay in that peace of mind. It can be maybe anything. They can just grab on to any opportunity that you get. Irrelevant if it's not from your field, doesn't matter. If it's not of the same salary, doesn't matter. If you think you can do something of your own, go ahead to it. You want to
yeah.
partner with somebody, go to it. But my only advice is to grab onto something so that you remain at peace of mind. But then don't forget your target. Your target is reaching point B, and you keep on
Yeah.
striving to do that. But you've got to
Maybe it's the
keep
best
yourself calm
time
and happy.
maybe it's the best time to follow your passion which you left behind years ago. So or I think we are stand on the first point where we started, that do research and work on yourself. This is very important. If you have this time, you have all the time to work on yourself, to increase your learning, to increase your skills and capabilities. So and be positive, the
Absolutely,
top most important.
absolutely,
So I think
absolutely,
I am done with my questions, and
absolutely.
now I am going to take the questions from audience. So let me see if we have any
Yeah.
questions. Okay, so we have a question. What are the best websites platforms to look for job in Pakistan?
Well, I can't make that recommendations, but there are
Mhm.
many in Pakistan. There are some very well known. There are about
Mhm.
three, four that are really well known websites there that you can look for jobs.
I think we can take one or two name, the best ones.
So in Pakistan there are you've got Rosie, you've got the website where you get jobs with UN. It's jobs. Forgetting that name, where you only get those kind of jobs. So you can look at Rosie. Most of the good companies, they post their jobs on LinkedIn as well. So
Yeah.
Brightspire, yeah, that was Brightspire. Then LinkedIn is something that's there. Then if you just do a Google search on recruiters, there are many recruiters out there as well with not very big names, but then they have connections in local companies also, where you can sort of look for jobs. But then
Okay.
do remember what we've discussed. So maybe you do make it to the interview, but then you don't have things to discuss with them. So you need
Yeah.
so we as recruiters, we're looking for that spark, somebody who's bright, who you know pleasant to talk to, that personality thing. So work on yourself as a brand. The brands that you like to wear, the brands that you like to ride, the brands that you look up to. You're a brand yourself, so you need to know how you're branding yourself as well.
Very important. Let's take another question. How do you find the balance between pursuing your passion versus taking a less fulfilling but better paid job?
So, what's more important for you, Amira? It's a very good question. What's more important for you? Are you somebody who wants to earn money? Is that your passion, or is your passion, doing both things? So there are people who go out for their passion but do a part-time job as well, right? So you need to see what you need to do. There's also a concept of building blocks,
Yeah.
and we teach that in our training as well. So what we tell them is that you should build 5 blocks. Now earlier on we used to discuss that have a 5-year plan for yourself. But I think in today's world, 5 years is like too long a time. So let's say you have a three-year building block for yourself, and every year you evaluate. Are you as per your plan? Are you as per your plan? Do you need to revise the plan, change something around that? So have that building blocks for yourself and see how you want to do. If there's something you're very passionate about, then perhaps you can go for a part-time job. Now there are jobs available that you can sit remotely and do as well. So that's something you need to really ask yourself, what is that you're looking for.
I think self awareness is very important. I have seen a lot of people, they don't even know what they want from their life. They feel like, I don't think so, I'm good at this job. Then what are you good for? And they are like, I don't know. I want to do something, but what you want to do, I don't know. So I think self awareness, self assessment is very important.
Self-awareness, very important. For such people, there's one more thing that I can perhaps add.
Yeah.
So people who feel that they don't know what they need to do, it's all right, because so despite you've taken all the help that we've discussed today, have do this, do that, but somehow that thing is not coming to you. That is fine.
Yeah.
That is fine. But just remember that you're actually missing on those years, right? So, for example, for 1 year or 2 years, you just don't know what you want to do. But when it strikes to you, try to catch up. So, don't go on a very regular pace. Perhaps you want to catch up. If you become very late, let's say you're now 30, 35, you've still not, it didn't come to you. But when you're 35, it came to you. So try to, sort of do expedite things, and catch up with the time that you could not catch up on.
I totally agree. So let me see if we have another question. Yeah, we have another question. What are the factors someone should consider when pursuing a career? I think it's a very
Okay,
personal question.
that's a very good one. Now, unfortunately, in our education system, you don't have many subjects, right? So there are not many subjects.
Yeah.
You can name the subjects that we have here, like marketing or computer studies or economics or arts, like major or science, right? So these are the few subjects that broadly that we have available in universities and in colleges also. There are more, but majorly this is what you have. um,
Hmm.
Again, I can't really point out what you need to, as a subject I can't point out, but as a career, when I say, it's not necessary that you sort of land in big organizations. It is just not necessary that you land in big organizations. You can dream of that, and you can navigate yourself for those kind of for organizations. But what you need to look at is the work culture. Look at the work. So when they announce the job descriptions, look at that job description, read it, and try to relate with it. Is that something that's going to work for you? It's not going to work for you. Organization culture actually plays like a big role in all of this.
I totally agree with you, Samia. So, Samia, thank you so much for joining us today. And I personally enjoyed this session a lot. I learned a lot, and I'm sure that all of the people who are listening to us must have learned. Before closing this, I want your advice on one thing. So, this is something that I face every day, and I receive this query. I saw this thing in the fresh grads, and I so want to address it, and I do. So, but I want you to give your advice too. So, what happens when the students they just came out from the universities? They have a lot of things in their mind, and they thought that we will just pass out and we'll get a job. And when they start applying, they won't receive answers for a week or maybe sometimes months, and then they start feeling depressed and they start feeling कि हमारी जिंदगी खराब हो गई है अब तो कुछ नहीं हो सकता, and maybe they become desperate, they start jumping on any job they got. So what is your suggestion to them, and what you recommend to them to just how to be consistent or determined of what they are looking for and what they want to achieve, and be patient, most
Yeah, so I
importantly.
think I think we've actually also discussed, this thing earlier on in our discussion.
Yeah.
So point A and point B, you don't forget where you need or where you want to go. Plan
Yeah.
according to that. And if you're not getting that opportunity, that is something beyond your control, right? So you can't control job opportunities, job market, economy. You just can't control that. So in order to keep yourself sane, in order to keep yourself sane, you need to get grab something that's there in the market. But obviously, it's going to be for a shorter term. But that whatever you grab should make you happy. Should make you happy. Don't land yourself somewhere that you actually become more depressed than you were earlier on.
Absolutely. I absolutely agree.
Yeah.
This is what I tell them every day. So thank you so much. And before closing thing, I just want to add on your point that the students, the fresh grads which I met every day, they are very energetic, enthusiastic. They have everything they need to achieve what they want in their
Absolutely.
life. And
Yes,
they just
yes.
need to be firm. They just need to be focused and
You're
just do
very
whatever
right.
they want to have. Yeah, just do whatever they want to do, and what makes them happy, most importantly, to follow your passion. So
Absolutely.
okay, so for this note, guys, I'm signing off. Thank you so much. And also, one
Thank
more
you.
thing, I think we should say this that if we try to answer questions as much as we can, all of the things I ask is the questions I receive. So if you have anything you want to talk about, you want guidance, you need advice, you can reach out to me, you can reach out to Samia directly, or me, I can connect you with Samia. We are here to help you, to guide you, and even we at Sada Pay, we want to make people's life as simple as Sada as we can. So thank you so much. And with this note, I'm signing off. And inshallah, I will surely, you will surely see me again with another exciting topic. Allah Hafiz.
Thank you, Mariam.
Thank you.